What's up, everyone? It's Cannan, and welcome back finally to RWBY Alternate Realities, episode 15 of What If Yang Was a Saiyan. Sorry once again for the long wait, but I'm trying to pad these out as far as I can because once we get to Volume 9, who knows how long this series will be on hiatus until we get Volume 10, which I do believe we are getting Volume 10, just don't know when. Also trying to find a way to fit the Justice League movies into this. I might even find a way to include Ice Queendom as well, even though we're kind of way past when Ice Queendom takes place. This is an alternate reality, so, hey, anything could happen. But I do plan on this being the finale of the Arafel android arc that I am now calling it, which covers the events of Arafel, but happening way later than it's supposed to be in canon. This is supposed to take place during the events of Volume 7, but we've already cleared Volume 7. This takes place in between Volume 7 and Volume 8, so technically, even though the end events of Volume 7 have happened, Salem has not yet arrived in Atlas. So, yeah, I'm going to try and get some more RWBY-related stuff up for you guys. Me and Jess are both off Wednesday and Thursday, so maybe Wednesday me and her will record a few things together. We've got new internet as well, finally. Me and Jess have started playing Final Fantasy XIV together. We've got Disney Plus now. We've got all this other stuff where we can finally use our Roku TV that we've had for years and not been able to use it. So live streams. Yes, we want to do live streams. We've got to test one out first because neither of us know how to live stream, how to set it up and stuff like that. But the first thing we plan on doing, because we want to do one together, we want to do our first one together, it is going to be the history of Bumblebee, from early concept art to now. The only thing that won't be included, more than likely, will be the Justice League Part 2 movie, because it doesn't come out until October, and we're wanting to do this fairly soon, maybe sometime in September. Also, October is our wedding anniversary, so we're going to be kind of busy in October. But, yeah, hopefully we don't have to push it back. Hopefully we can get everything set up by then to do that. But, yes, new internet. Hopefully that means faster, more frequent uploads. I've had to work 6 days in a row this week. I've still got 2 more to go. But, yeah, that's why RWBY content has kind of been really any other kind of content has been kind of slowed down. Just that I haven't had time or the energy. Jess hasn't had the energy. That's why it's mostly been Let's Plays, because let's face it, they're quick and easy to do. But I do want to get all of Final Fantasy XIV covered before Dawn Trail comes out, so I can play that for you guys as it comes out. Also, I may live stream some of Baldur's Gate. Who knows? It depends on, like I said, if we can get it all set up and learn how it works. But, yeah, so last time, the new android Thornmane had absorbed the power cells of Team Briar, pretty much making them, for lack of a better term, out of commission. And he starts to transform. His skin starts to change. It becomes like this metallic gray-like way. His eyes turn jet black. His hair and beard change color. His energy fluctuates. It's growing and growing and growing. Yang standing there like in shock because, for one, the power outage, that she can't sense it, but you can feel it. You can feel it radiating, and plus it's pushing her back. Even as a Super Saiyan, she's struggling to keep her footing in a way. But she's also never seen such a monstrous transformation, to the point where his physical body is changing. Now, It's kind of a transformation, yes, just like Android 13. I would still love to know the concept behind Android 13's transformation when he became a super android, because it was very different. He looked way different than his normal form, compared to Android 17 and Dragon Ball GT when he became a super android. It was also like it was completely different from what they did in the movie. So yeah, super androids are really fun just because of the different ways you could make them look. Of course, as you can see by the thumbnail, I went for more of a Super Android 13 look, because Jess currently has no way to actually manipulate the clothing that's already on there. Plus, it would take way too long in how we wanted to put this up. But yes, Yang can definitely feel like this is a threat that could destroy the entire planet, but also this is a foe that has a magnitude of strength that she's never went up against as of right now. Even Tyrion wasn't exactly this strong. But of course, he's laughing maniacally. He can feel it. Like, he can just feel it at his fingertips how strong. But then again, he has literally just absorbed the energy of 4 very strong androids. So his power has more than doubled. So Yang gets ready. She readies herself. And he doesn't really even speak. He just looks at her and dashes for her. And for the first time, Yang is kind of caught off guard. He lands a good punch into her gut, and then before she can really even go up from the upper punch, he knocks her back with a punch to the face, and he just starts wailing. And these are not fast punches. They're slow, but they're impactful. They're hard. They are actually doing damage to her. And Yang is actually caught off guard. She's not just taking the hits to measure his strength. She's actually getting the breath knocked out of her. By the point that when he finally stops, she's sent back. She's able to stop herself, but she's heaving. She even spits out a little bit of blood. That this, for the first time, an enemy is actually doing some real damage. So she's already learning that she's got to watch herself. And she's already thinking, okay, what do I do? I've got to protect the others, because Ruby, Weiss, and Blake have they have John, Ren, and Nora, who are pretty much out cold. And then they have Team Briar, who, for all they know, are gone for good, but they're still trying to at least protect them. They don't want them to be just wasted. So she's got that to worry about, but also what's right in front of her, which is this very strong, very aggressive android who, for all she knows, will just destroy the planet once he's done with them. So Yang quickly powers up. She knows she can't really afford to pull any punches here. She's got to try and end this really quickly. And so she does. She flies toward him, lands a punch right in the face, and it doesn't even faze him. It's almost like she's punching a brick wall. For the first time ever, she's going up against a foe that's stronger than a Super Saiyan. And no matter what she does, it's just like us punching a brick wall. It's like doing nothing. It's causing more damage to her than it is him. He catches one of her punches, squeezes, and then pulls her forward and punches her again, sends her flying. He appears on the other end, kicks her, sends her into the snow on the ground. She skids for a good mile. Then he appears right as she's starting the skid and kicks her again, and keeps on kicking her all over the place. Sometimes appearing right before she stops to kick her again, and sometimes running alongside of her to kick her some more. She is literally defenseless right now. Ruby, not liking this, really wants to try and help her, but Blake stops her because they just know that if Yang can't stop this guy, what chance do they all have? But RWBY says they've got to try. Maybe if they all gang up on him, maybe they can overpower him, or maybe they can at least keep him busy enough for Yang to recover. Like, they can't just stand there and do nothing. And against her better judgment, Blake agrees, so all 3 members of Team RWBY attack Thornmane, and of course, it's literally doing nothing. Their attacks have no effect. You know, it's to the point where they're scared they're going to damage their weapons off this guy, because their weapons could literally snap if they're not too careful. It does, however, give Yang time to finally recover, and her blurry is a little, her vision is a little blurry, and she doesn't know what to do. Like, she is scared for once. Like, all that training I did, it, you know, what was, you know, was it all wasted? But then she remembers that during her training, she did unlock something, and she feels almost dumb for forgetting it, and she's like, maybe it's finally time to use that. So Yang stands up, she gets her balance, she looks over, she sees her sister, her friend, and pretty much her love interest struggling to even get up now. He's already beat them down. But before Yang can do anything, a green blast comes out of nowhere and hits Thornmane. He looks over from where it came from, and landing right beside Yang is Penny. Penny is back from getting Pietro to safety. While they were trying to fight Thornmane, Pietro did wake up. He told Penny that he was okay, he'll be fine, he just needs to rest and recover, but she needs to go back and help them fight this android, because if they don't stop him here, the world could end. Now, of course, there's Salem, and Salem more than likely would stop Thornmane because she wants to destroy the world. But who knows? He could surprise Salem by destroying the planet, then what would Salem do? Because in this version of the story, Salem is not immortal. She can be defeated if there was anyone stronger than her. Because as of right now, Yang is nothing compared to her. It's like Namek era Goku trying to go up against Kid Buu. It ain't happening. But Penny doesn't want to leave his side. He tells her, "You're the savior of Atlas. Right now, not just Atlas, but the world needs you. Go. I will be fine." She takes a deep breath, kisses him on the head, and then heads off. And that's where we are now. She flew her way there, since she is a robot pretty much as well, though Penny's not really an android in the way that, you know, how do you define android? Now, it depends on what kind of series you're looking at. There are some that are just purely robotic with, you know, latex skin on it to look human, and that's, and in some instances they call them an android. We're going more by Dragon Ball rules, where an android is kind of a person who was human that was changed or remodeled to not be organic anymore. That's why in Dragon Ball, androids are able to train and get stronger, because they were once organic. They were just turned that way. They're not fully machines, where Penny pretty much was fully a machine. And that's not really trying to down her character or anything, but compared to an android, where we saw it, you know, in I believe volume 2, where her hands were messed up and we could see the metal. Androids were once organic, where Penny, for a sense, was never organic. She did have an aura, though, so it's kind of going into that whole Pinocchio thing, where she technically does have a soul. But since she is not an android, she's not organic, Thornmane had no idea that she was there, and so she did actually get a good attack on him. Because let's give Penny some credit. Penny was very strong even before she attained the maiden powers. So there stands Penny. She's not happy. She wants to fight this guy because he almost killed her father. So she summons her blades, and, you know, she forms her big beam, her big green beam attack, sends it at him, which, of course, since he knows it's coming, he does block it. But Yang uses that opportunity to appear right beside him and waylay him right in the face with a good right hand and then a really good roundhouse kick, which actually knocks him down. She uses that opportunity to fire her own blast at him, which does do some damage, but he's far from done. He stands up, he screams, this big black energy appears around him, and he starts forming a black energy blast. Kind of like Baby's, actually Android 17's attack, which I believe it was called like a Eclipse Bomb or something like that. It's kind of the same concept. And Yang can already tell, oh crap, this is a big blast. We need to take cover. She yells at Ruby and them to take cover, and he sees that he's not really aiming it at her. Like, that's probably the biggest mistake he could make, because Penny's strong, don't get me wrong, but she's not stronger than Yang. But he's angry. This toy, as he would call her, got the better of him. And so Yang uses this time to use this distraction as a way to power up just a little bit more. She's not showing her true strength yet, but she quickly powers up, gets to Penny, moves her out of the way right as the attack hits, because it's a very, like, once the attack is let go, he can't manipulate it to move. It's not one of those attacks. And she uses the opportunity to once again sneak up on him and blast him again with a much stronger attack. Now this time, it at least rips off some of his clothing and dents him a little bit, but he's still almost indestructible. So Yang looks at Penny and says, look, just be careful, but let's try and you distract him and I'll get off hits as much as I can. So now Yang's she's kind of playing with fire here. She believes she does have the strength to beat this guy, but she's kind of toying. She's kind of being like Goku here for a minute. She's wanting to test this guy's strength before she actually really tries. It's kind of her ego coming out a little bit. But Penny, being Penny, just says Roger and starts throwing beams at him, her many swords at him, and it's really just being a nuisance. It's kind of like playing with your cat with a string. He's kind of taken the bait, but it's really just making him mad. And Yang is using this opportunity not to throw blasts at him, because it really seems like blasts aren't really doing much, but she's using the opportunity to land in hits, almost sucker punches in a way. She's getting him where, if he was organic, where his kidneys would be, because if you do punch someone in the kidneys a lot, you can do a lot of damage. But once again, they're not really making a lot of headway. But what Yang is trying to do is gather information. She's trying to find weaknesses. Maybe find out the right amount of power to take this guy out. Because Yang also doesn't want to give all of her secrets off right away. Because who knows who could be watching. Because what have they learned since being in Atlas? There's almost eyes everywhere. Like, Watts watched them for a long time, ever since they arrived in Atlas, to prepare these androids in case the Aesops failed, and if Ironwood failed, which he did. But after a while, Yang's like, okay, this really isn't going anywhere. I really need to show what I'm made of. But she wants Penny to have her shot, so she tells Penny, throw everything you've got at this guy. So she prepares her big green beam once again, where her swords circle around her, but this one has a bit more umph into it, and she sends it out, and it actually does. It sends him back a little bit. He does try to block it, sends him back a little bit. Some of him starts to peel away a little bit, but he is able to literally send it back at her. Penny does get out of the way just very close, and Penny is pretty much spent at that point. Her aura does break, and yeah, Penny is pretty much, for right now, out of the fight. And of course, he wants to take advantage of that. He smirks and chuckles and starts walking toward her, but all of a sudden, the ground starts to shake. He turns around, and there's Yang. She's in that classic powering up position, and she starts to scream. The yellow aura around her pretty much explodes. It's almost like it's reaching out to grab him. And everyone around starts to notice Yang's muscles start to bulk out big time. If you think what we've seen of Yang so far in the part 2 of the Justice League movie, the crossover movie, is buff, this Yang would be like, she would win a lot of bodybuilding contests, let's just say. Her muscles are bulking so much, you would think they were going to burst. Her hair spikes out even more and becomes even more wilder. She's putting out so much energy that the snow is starting to melt at large lengths. With one final scream, Yang sends out one more energy pulse that even makes him stagger, and Yang has transformed. She's bulkier. Her hair is wilder. Yang has transformed into what... It depends on what this form is called. It depends on where you're from. In America, it was called Ascended Super Saiyan, or the Super Vegeta form. But in Japan, it was called Super Saiyan Grade 2. It's a level in between Super Saiyan 1 and Super Saiyan 2. There's also other variants. There's Super Saiyan Grade 3, which is the form Trunks used. It's called Ultra Super Saiyan here, but it has a major flaw. Has a lot of power, but it makes you very, very slow. Has Yang reached that level? Maybe, but in this case, she's like Goku and Vegeta, and that she realized the handicap behind that form. There's also Grade 4, which is full-powered Super Saiyan, which Goku and Gohan used during the Cell Games arc, where they pretty much stayed in Super Saiyan almost 24/7 to maximize the energy in it, so they wouldn't spend any energy transforming. But Yang is standing there, and like she just looks up, and you would think all this energy, all this muscle mass would put a strain on her, but this is Yang. She's owning it. She is like just a rock star right now. Just like Vegeta when he first used this form against Imperfect Cell, she looks up smirking. And pretty much, I love the line that Vegeta used in the English dub of the anime, so I've got to steal it a little bit here and say that Yang says something along the lines of, you should be honored. This is power that no one has seen for thousands of years. And even though he's not said much since transforming, because I noticed in Super Android 13, once he transformed, he didn't really talk a whole lot. He became a little bit more animalistic, in a way. So that's what's kind of happened with Thornmane here, but he finally talks, and his voice is a lot more growly, a little bit more guttural, and he's like, what is this? What did you do? And Yang's like, I think it'll be better to show you. And What's great about this form is even though it has large muscle mass, it doesn't really hurt your speed in a lot of ways. Ultra Super Saiyan, or the next form, grade 2 or grade 3, does hurt your speed. It kills it big time. But in this case, not really all that much. The power outage is way more than Super Saiyan 1. And before he knows it, Yang's in his face, and she, like Vegeta, punches him right in the gut, and unlike before, she's able to go through. She's able to actually get in there. Which he does scream out. She shuts him up by not uppercutting him, but actually headbutting him, which sends him back, and he starts to, it's not really blood, and she's like, uh-oh, got a little leak there, kind of like Vegeta as well, because let's admit it, Yang would have a little bit of an ego here if she was a Saiyan. And just like other shonen villains, he starts losing his cool. All of a sudden, just like that, he's no longer in control of this fight. So Yang decides, let's try this new form out. Let's see what it can really do. And she just starts owning him. He can't land a hit on her. Even if he does, it's not doing anything. The power alone that she is putting out is enough to really make him pause before every attack. Because he realizes before it even connects that it's not going to do nothing. She like literally just slaps his punches away just to deliver her own, which is actually doing way more damage than he was doing to her previously as just a regular Super Saiyan. So, of course, now that he's losing, he gets desperate and he gets pissed off. And he decides, you know what? I'm no longer putting up with this. I'm just going to blow this planet up. Takes to the air, forms a bigger version of the big black energy ball that he used earlier, but this one is more like a bomb, a black energy bomb. And of course, he laughs, saying, you know, you may be strong, but can you really generate an attack that's going to stop this? And Yang's just standing there like this, and she's like, you know what? Not only that, but I think I'll just take you out with it as well. You know, I'll just take you out as well. She kind of gives a smirk like she did in Volume 9, which pisses him off and says, girl, your arrogance just doomed this entire planet. And he sends it down. And of course, everyone else is freaking out. The wind is blowing like no other. And they can just watch in horror as this huge energy bomb is coming down. Yang just smirks. She powers up. And kind of in a way that the Final Flash looks, she puts her hands out to the side. And she starts to power up even more. She puts her hands forward. And this energy beam that's yellow but also a red like orange starts to form. It pretty much looks like the sun, but it's also kind of generating and building like a mega flare. She's charging, and he's pushing it more and says, Fool, are you just going to stand there and gather energy, or are you going to try and stop me? And she says, it's about time you androids are pretty much done with. It's time your plague on this planet ends. She sends it forward, and this large mega flare of a beam hits the black bomb, completely implodes it, goes past. Thornmane is shocked. All he can do is gasp as the energy hits him, completely engulfs him, and he completely disintegrates. Thornmane has been destroyed. Yang, standing there, lets out a sigh of relief and finally goes back to normal. She literally shrinks as all those bulky muscles finally goes away. For the first time, she is actually tired. She does fall to one knee, gasping a little bit for air. First time fully, truly using that form. Everyone runs over. You know, Ruby's all excited, like, Yang, that was amazing, but please don't scare the crap out of me like that again. Weiss is like, honestly, why didn't you just do that from the beginning instead of making us think you were going to let him blow up the planet? Blake is, of course, in that whole don't scare me like that ever again, is hugging Yang around the neck. Penny comes over, you know, and is like, Yang, you did great. Thank you for your service to Atlas. And Yang's like, sure, Penny, anytime. They check on, you know, Jean, Ren, and Nora are okay. They finally start to wake up. Nora's like, what train hit me? And then they look at the still unmoving bodies of Team Briar. Ruby notes how this isn't fair. You know, this wasn't something that they wanted or deserved. And they actually contemplate just burying them there. Maybe burying them at Fort Arafel, which was still rightfully theirs. But Penny says maybe my dad can do something. So before we make any hasty decisions, let's take them back to him. Now, of course, Pietro needs a few days to recuperate. And so does Yang. For once, Yang actually needs to rest and heal a little bit. She does that, of course, by eating a big meal. And after a few days go by and things quiet down for a little bit, Pietro is able to design and input new power cells into Team Briar. He activates them, and thankfully, Team Briar wake up. They're not reprogrammed or anything like that. They have all their memories, and they ask what happened to Thornmane. You know, Ruby's like, oh, Yang destroyed him. And that's when they finally realize that one, Team RWBY was never a enemy, but also there's nothing they could do. Even if they wanted to, they couldn't defeat Yang. Yang at this point could probably take all four of them at once. And so they thank Team RWBY. They shake hands. And Winter has shown up from her busy time taking care of Atlas to let them know that Fort Arafel belongs back to them. They have no ties to Atlas. If they don't want to help or anything like that, they don't have to. Winter would not blame them if they didn't want to, but if they want, Atlas could certainly use their help. And Team Briar tells her that they will think about it, and then they finally leave to finally rebuild at Fort Arafel. So everyone is hoping that now they have time to rest, maybe think about their next move a little bit, but Winter did not just come to talk to Team Briar. A storm has been spotted on the horizon, and it's heading for Atlas, and the Atlas military have learned that inside the storm is a lot and a lot of Grim, including a very large whale Grim. And everyone right then there now knows that Salem is coming for Atlas. And there we will end today's episode. So, the Arafel Android arc is over with. Team RWBY now has new allies with Team Briar. And all of Watts' evil schemes between the Aesops, Tyrion, and Thornmane are done. The android threat is gone. It no longer exists on Remnant. But now they have an even greater danger coming their way. Salem is coming. And with her, of course, is still Cinder, who, unlike in the show, was able to get the power of the Winter Maiden, and she was able to also get the Spring Maiden powers in this version as well. So Cinder is way stronger than she currently is in the actual show. But we also have the other members of Salem Circle, including Hazel. What role will he play in this version? Are Emerald and Mercury still there? And what about Neo? Well, you guys will have to wait for the next episode. Might be a little bit of a wait on this one because I've got a lot to plan out, because Volume 8 is a very meaty volume. It was the longest volume in RWBY so far. And I also want to go ahead and plan ahead what I want to do with the Justice League movie. Might want to do the entire movie as one whole thing. So might have to wait until the second part comes out before I move forward with that. But I will be brainstorming. But hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, click that like button, leave a comment. As always, guys, this is Cannan. Me and Jess love you all very, very much. Stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. And I will see you in the next one. See ya.